to this screen here. So here you're going to have your thermostat, you're going to have your furnace control board, and then you're going to have your condenser outside. And we'll go through the letters, what they stand for, where they go, what they do. We'll start here with the W. That's typically a white wire, and they're usually typically color coded. So the white would be W. That's for your heating circuit. That's what operates your furnace, turns the furnace on. The Y is the cooling. That'll turn your air conditioner on. The G is for your fan on the blower on the furnace. In case you wanted to run the fan independently, you can turn the switch thermostat to on, and your blower will just come on and run. The R and RC, they're connected. You could have an RC and an RH. Some of them will have a jumper inside the thermostat itself. Some of them won't. It'll just have an R and that's it. But that's your 24-volt power. And then you got your C, which is common, which is basically your ground. Okay, so basically all a thermostat does is takes one point and connects it to another. So in the air conditioning mode, you'll always have 24 volts on the control board. So that 24 volts comes up here, it stops. With the thermostat off, it's just going to have power there. Now when you turn the thermostat to cooling and lower your temperature, it's going to connect to the Y internally of on the thermostat. So you'll send the 24 volts here to the Y. That'll come down and send power to the Y terminal on the control board, which will start the air conditioner. And as you can see on the condenser, you'll have one wire going out to there connected to the Y as well. And then one is the common, which is again the ground. So any circuit, any load, such as a motor or a relay, a light bulb, they all require a common or a ground, neutral, and a power source. Now these little jumpers here, what that does is indicates that there's no physical connection. Same thing up here. It just means that the green wire is not connected to the red wire in any way. It's just going across it. Now if you saw a dot kind of right there, then that would indicate a connection. But if you just don't see a dot, then you'll have these jumpers that tell you that it's not connected. So when you get the power, 24 volts to the Y, comes down, comes to the control board, your condenser is going to immediately power up because you're sending the voltage directly there. So your condenser should start up. And then there'll be a little bit of a time delay, and the control board will eventually turn the blower on the furnace. And that's where you get all the air coming out of the registers in your home. So, if one thing doesn't come on, we're going to be troubleshooting that, but I just wanted to give you the schematic of where these wires go, what they stand for, what they do. And we're going to go ahead and, like I said, go through the physical location of the physical thermostat and the wiring, and we'll go ahead and we'll do that right now. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to cover the thermostat, and this is basically where it all begins. This is going to tell your system when to turn on, when to turn off. And you're all probably familiar with the thermostat. You got your fan setting. You got an on or auto. On will be, it just runs 24 hours a day. So most of the time you have that on auto. And then you got your cool, off, and heat. So we're going to show you how to test this, see if it's working properly. But we're going to go ahead and take this off and show you the wiring here. And you'll have red, which is the incoming power from your control board. It's got 24 volts to it, and you'll always have 24 volts unless the power to the furnace is shut off. And then you got a green, that's your fan circuit. So that's the one where if you turn your fan to on, then it'll energize, it'll send power from the red to the green and turn the fan on. And you can use it to just circulate the air, clean the air. And then you've got your Y, yellow, which is your cooling circuit. So when you call for cooling at the thermostat, the red sends voltage to the Y. So basically, if I took the red wire and put it to the yellow wire, your air conditioning system would come on. That's all a thermostat does. And if you notice also, there's an RH and an RC, and it's got a jumper in there. A lot of thermostats won't have the jumper. You won't need the jumper, but if you're replacing one, you'll just have to look at the instructions and see if you need a jumper or not. Typically, you won't. And then on this side, you have the W, which is the white for your heating circuit. And if you have a common, that's kind of like the ground, and will supply power to the thermostat, because the thermostat, a lot of them can be battery powered or 24 volt powered. So again, you'll have to look at the thermostat and see which one it is that you have. And it can be both. You can have 24 volt and battery backup. So that's what the common wire would be for. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. And this is on this one. This is where your batteries are. And again, it can be battery or 24 volt operated. So if you turn it to cool, you got your room temperature, and then here's where you're going to set it. And if you set it below 72, your air conditioning is going to come on, and you can see the cool on. Now, also just keep in mind something you may not know. So if you turn the temperature up, and then you decide, you know what, I do want it down, or if you turn it off and back on, then it's going to go through typically a 5-minute time delay. Do you see how the cool on is flashing? It won't let you turn the AC off and then right back on. That's kind of dangerous for the air conditioner outside, the compressor. So it goes through like a 5-minute, 7-minute time delay. And after that time, then the cool on will stop flashing, and your air conditioning system will come on. So I just wanted to show you basic functions of a thermostat, the wiring, and where they go to. And we're going to go down to the furnace, and we're going to see where these wires are at and where they're located down at the control board. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that now. All right, guys, we're down here at the furnace at the control board. I'm trying to get as low as I can, because a lot of these furnaces, they sit right on the ground. I'm going to show this to you as best as I can. And this wire here is the wire coming from your thermostat. This one is coming from your condenser. So let's go over the wires coming in from your thermostat. And the first one, let me take this off and try to get a close-up of this. So the first one from your thermostat is the Y, the yellow, which is your cooling circuit. And also on that one is one of the wires going to your condenser. And once 24 volts comes down from the thermostat to the Y, it's going to energize the condenser right away. The other side of the condenser wire, which is this one, the 2-wire, it goes to common. That's basically your ground or your neutral. So once power is applied to the yellow from the thermostat, your condenser is going to come right on. There'll be a time delay, and then your blower comes on. But the other wire is coming down. Here is the W for the white heating circuit. This one is a brown for W2. This furnace happens to be a 2-stage furnace. You've got your red, the R, that's the 24 volt power going up. And then you've got your green, which is your fan circuit. And then here is your common. And again, you got the blue common wire going up to the thermostat. And again, the other red from the condenser going to the common. So the condenser has 2 wires. One is on common and one is on Y. So as soon as you apply power from the thermostat, call for cooling, that voltage is going to come down here to Y and energize that condenser right off the bat. And basically in the cooling mode, this control board is just going to really just turn on the blower. Now there's a lot of other functions on here, but that's going to be for the furnace. So right now we're just mainly concerned with the blower motor, because that's really all that it's going to run in the cooling mode. And you got a lot of relays, and one of them is for the blower motor to turn that on. And then when you terminate power at the thermostat, when you shut it off or when it's satisfied, power is going to disconnect from the Y, and the air conditioner, the condenser, will shut off right away, and the fan will probably continue to blow just for a little while longer, kind of get rid of that remaining coolness. And that's basically the wiring of your thermostat. And we'll go more into detail in furnace operation in a video I'll be coming out with in the fall. So there we have it. Okay, we're going to go through and troubleshoot this, make sure this thermostat's working properly. Now on the back you've got all these pins that stick into the corresponding spots, you know, for the yellow, green, red, common, and so forth. So what we're going to do, we're going to have this to cool. We're going to lower the temperature. Okay, our cool is on. So let's see if it indeed is calling through the thermostat. So we're going to set it to ohms, and like I said, I like to put mine on the buzzer on resistance. So we're going to come here to the RC, which is your incoming red wire, and we're going to go put it on yellow. And as you can see, we've got continuity. So the thermostat is working properly. Now if you weren't getting anything, then your thermostat is bad. Down here you have a little switch for gas or electric, depending on what your furnace is. If you got a electric heat pump or electric heat strips, you'll switch this to electric. If you got a gas furnace, you'll switch that to gas. So that's how you tell if your thermostat is working. You pull it off the wall, set it to cool, and you should have continuity. In other words, it's making internal contact from the red to the yellow to send power down to the yellow on the terminal board, on the control board. So again, if you're not getting that, if you're not getting continuity, then your thermostat is bad. And that's how we read the thermostat. Okay guys, now if you turned your thermostat to cool, you've lowered the temp for the air conditioner to come on, and if nothing happens, then you're going to have to come down here and test for voltages. So what you want to do is remember there's always power on the 24 volt R terminal. So if you go to ground and you put your lead on the R, you get the 28 volts, which I'm getting there. Hopefully you can see that. If you're not, then you're going to have to come back here to what's called the transformer to see if you're getting 24 volts out of that. So this is a little hard to see, but these two wires here, the black and the white, are the incoming 120 volt. The red and the blue are the outgoing 24 volts. So we're going to go ahead and see if we got our 24 volts coming out of there. Let's see how I can get to that. So you're going to have to put them on the end there just like that. And as you can see, I've got 28 volts. Now if I didn't, then I'd have to come to the incoming 120 volts. Okay, so we're going to have to go there and there. And as you can see, I've got 120 volts. Now if I didn't have that, then we'd have to go back to the power switch, possibly even the breaker. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have on the primary side of this transformer, if we have, if I can get it on there right, we've got the 120 volts. So if we had 120 volts and we had nothing coming out of the secondary, then that transformer is bad. Okay, so you got to kind of work backwards, see if you have voltage on the red. If you don't, come back, check the secondary side of the transformer. If you don't have voltage there, then you go back again to the incoming 120 volts of the transformer, and if you have power there, then your transformer is bad. And you should have, at this point, 24 volts going to the Y, which is going to turn on your air conditioner. If you don't have 120 volts to your Y terminal, then you got to check your thermostat, make sure that that's functioning properly. And if not, then you might, if it's working right, then you might have a break in the wire somewhere going up to the thermostat. Okay, so that's kind of how you test for voltages, making sure you're getting the voltage to the board, which is going to be at the R. The R sends it up to the thermostat. The thermostat sends it to the yellow, which comes back down and energizes the condenser outside. And if the condenser outside doesn't come on, we're going to troubleshoot that as well on the contactor. But here I want you to make sure that you just have 24 volts come down to the Y. If not, do these steps that I just talked about, and you can tell whether it's a thermostat problem. Now, if you do have 24 volts on the thermostat, but nothing on the red, the R, then it's probably your board. So again, if you have 120 volts and 24 volts coming out, but nothing on the R, then it could be your control board. All right, guys.